Welcome to In the Space. I'm your host, Martin Sweeney, and I will be talking with friends, artists, activists, neighbors, and leaders about disability and community. In the Space is a virtual conversation acknowledging and celebrating disability culture and identity in all its history, diversity, and creative self-expression. Our thanks to Pasadena Media for making this broadcast possible. Hi, episode 4. This should be a fun ride. Today we have a special guest, a friend, someone I met probably 10 years ago. We were waiting in line at a public storage in Pasadena, and I was checking out Zebreda's wheelchair. At that time, I was an assistive technology specialist. And the next thing I knew, we became friends. So Zebreda is many things. When I was thinking about a tagline, I was thinking we could call her Queen of Troubleshooting. She's a MacGyver of all MacGyvers. And I want to welcome Zebreda Dunham to In the Space. Hi, Zebreda.
Hello,
How are you today?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for having me.
Oh, great. On the show, one of the things that we want to look at are the connections that people have to Pasadena. So, how long have you been a resident of Pasadena?
Um, it'll be 16 years in September.
Wow. Hard to believe, huh?
Oh yes.
Uh-huh. And are you from California?
No, I'm actually from Maryland.
And so why
Yeah.
did you move to California?
Two main reasons. First of all, the weather, and I guess you could say equally the same reason is because I wanted to just get prepared so when my parents were not around, I could be prepared for the rest of my life.
Uh-huh. And did you pick Los Angeles or Pasadena specifically, or how did that happen?
No, it was a long journey,
Uh-huh.
but it worked out in the long run, and so I'm very happy about that.
That's amazing. Well, one of the things one of the reasons why I wanted to have you as a guest today is to take a look at some of your unique skills that I think are representative of disability culture in a way that most people might not think about. When people think about culture, they might think about the arts, they might think about, you know, all sorts of things. But one of the things that's impressed me the most about many people I know with disabilities, and yourself probably at the top of that list, is this whole notion of adaptability. And when I think of adaptability, a simple definition is the quality of being able to adjust to new conditions or the capacity to be modified for a new use or purpose. To me, that's almost like your middle name. I mean, do you have any thoughts that you'd want to share about your skill as someone who adapts tools for daily living?
Well, I wouldn't really say it's a skill. I just say it comes natural. I don't know why, but I can look at mostly almost anything and turn into a tool for myself.
And how far back does that go from when you were a young child?
Yes, elementary, second, third grade, and
Wow.
probably even younger than that.
Well, maybe you might want to tell the audience a little bit about your disability before we go much further.
Okay, well, I have a disability called arthrogryposis multiplex congenita, AMC for short, and it pretty much just gives me deformed joints and very weak muscles. So I'm not able to do a lot of things that the average person could do, but I make up for it by making tools that can help me be as independent as I can.
So it's a situation where you have some physical limitations with your joints. So, like, describe how are you able to raise your arms above your shoulders?
No, I cannot do it. I can't do it anywhere but my shoulders.
Okay, so to that extent, some of the things that we're going to look at today, um, that helps, I think, the viewer understand some of the challenges and the limits that you have physically. So let's go back to this idea of adaptability. And let's walk through some of the devices that you've shared with me over the years, with just some brief comments about what they are and what was the inspiration for them. And I think this goes back to your early childhood. So what are we looking at here?
Those are my adapted scissors,
Adapted
and
scissors.
yes,
I
and
think that
pretty
you had
much
told me that at one point, was this for actually trimming your nails?
I did that. I do that too sometimes. Yes.
Amazing. And how did you create this piece? Did you just have it in your mind and then start describing to your mom or dad what you needed to make it happen, or was that with a physical therapist, or where did that come from?
But actually at the it was actually during school. My OT, the occupational therapist at my school was very nice, and she would help let me give her ideas about things I wanted to do, and she would help me create my ideas come to life pretty much. Yeah.
This is one of the early devices that you shared with me when I stopped by your apartment. And you were describing this as a joystick helper. So what are we looking at here?
It's like a adult collar with the key ring attached to it, and the key ring goes around the joystick, and it will allow me to um keep a hold of the joystick when running over when running over rough terrain, so my
So
hand
it's
won't slide off
actually
the.
a, so it's actually a real safety feature then. I put this in here because this is really, you know, you didn't have to do much to this. You just had to use it in a different way. So tell me what we're looking at.
Well, I had a this it's a raised platform that's pretty much made out of a paper towel holder that's just turned upside down. So the base
Aha.
of it is actually the platform.
And so the height of that as it sits in your wheelchair, what does that allow you to do?
If I want to eat something, I can eat something from that height just by leaning my head down and eating that way. Or I can use my phone and watch a video without having to lean over into my lap. Um, things like that.
All sorts of things that most people would never think about, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, it was ingenious when I saw it. Just remarkable. Ah, right at Public Storage where we first met. Why don't you describe what we're looking at here?
Well, that's my version of a key turner, and I say my version because there are versions out there that are considered key turners, but they don't work for my hands.
So a lot of these devices that you've adapted or modified or created are similar to maybe some products that are out there, but like the saying, close but no cigar, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Right.
And so you take maybe an idea that you saw somewhere and you modify it in such a way so that it works for you.
Yes.
That's correct.
Exactly.
Terrific. This is another simple but ingenious device. Tell me what we're looking at.
That's like my door alarm or my door chime. So when someone ever opens my door at the facility where I live, whether they knock or not, I still know when they're coming in the door by the cotter pins that are hanging from the yellow string hit the metal that's on the door, and it makes a little noise, but not making too much of a noise.
And where did you get the cotter pins?
I got them from Home Depot.
Aha. So I take it that you're probably a regular at Home Depot.
Definitely yes.
They know you.
Right.
They see you coming. This is another device that lots of people might not think about. Tell me what we're looking at.
This is my in my version of being able to open the door, I'm not able to reach over and pull down the handle while backing up. So what I did, I had the maintenance guy drill a hole in in the door handle, then put a hook under the handle and put a strap there. So when I pull it, it becomes like a pulley system, kind of.
Aha. So you leveraged it with a pulley system, which would give you, I take it that you grabbed hold of the strap and were
And
able to back away with your chair, and that would lower and open the door.
right.
Cool. Ah, the gate opener. This is one of my
Yep.
favorites. This was
Right.
an early video that we did. So let's share that with the audience right now. Good morning. I am here with Zebreda Dunham with Zebreda Makes It Work, a video series highlighting the use of assistive technology to support individuals in activities of daily living. Morning, Zebreda.
Morning.
Hi. Today we're going to take a look at a tool that you've designed that will allow you to get into the Metro Gold Line here in Pasadena, California. The challenge today is to get from this side of the station to the opposite side. Go ahead, Zebreda, and show me. Here we are. We've got the gate. So what are you going to reach for?
Another hanger, coat hanger that is actually a lot stronger than a lot of hangers that you would find out there.
Okay, so this is your super industrial hanger.
Yes. So
Okay.
what I would do is I would go over here to the gate and put my hook right on the corner of this, if the gate has one of these little ledges here.
Okay.
Now what I do, I just back up, pull, make a run for it. Here I am. I'm gonna go across the
I love that.
Yeah, I sure do too.
Now, it raises a question for me, and maybe some of our viewers would have the same questions. Some of the tools that you're adapting, it makes me think, well, why does Zebreda have to do that? Why is the gate set up so that a person who has a physical limitation is either confronting a barrier, in this case, crossing a rail track? How do you feel about the fact that so many of these tools that you modify and adapt and create are because the world is not accessible?
Well, they just have not. Most people don't see our situation, that they have not had to experience it, so that's why they don't just understand it. Um, and I wish there was a way that people could actually be put in our shoes or our wheels for a day or for a week, even give them more taste of our daily living.
But I would imagine that for you, waiting for the world to wake up isn't going to help you tomorrow. So some of these tools are like, well, while the rest of you are trying to figure this out, I'm going to go ahead and make it work.
Right. And I know a lot of people would probably even just stay home or make sure they're with one of their caregivers to go out with them at all times. But I'm not like that. I'll go out and do what I have to do anyway, no matter what.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. Now we come to the pulley spoon, one of your favorite devices. And I was there when you were in the process of designing, conceptualizing and then prototyping what we're looking at. So tell us more.
Well, pretty much, I made a feeding system for myself because, as I mentioned, I'm not able to raise my arms above my shoulders, so I had to figure out a way to feed myself things that I could not use a fork with.
So when we're taking a look at this, and it just kind of like blew my mind when I first saw this, the rail that the spoon seems to be fit into, where did you find that?
I found it outside on the street.
Ah, outside on the street. So when you're out and about, nothing escapes your eye.
Right.
So I think you once described it, one person's trash is another person's treasure.
Right. That's correct.
So when you see something like this, did you know right away that you were going to use it for the pulley spoon?
That one I didn't know just yet. I think I had that stick for about maybe a year, maybe even 2 years before I even figured out what I was going to do with it.
You just kind of had a feeling that at some point you might need it.
Right.
Very cool.
And that's the very reason why a lot of times I have things in my room that people say, what do you need that for? Sometimes I say, I don't know, but I figure out a way.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at your room in a second. Power soccer.
Yes,
What are we looking at here?
Well, that is the front of a power soccer guard, and which is a piece of equipment, that helps me play the sport called power soccer.
Well, let's take a look at that for a second. So you play power soccer.
Yeah.
Now, how did you put this together? Was this something that you could buy on Amazon?
No, this is what actually that one was actually made by one of the players' family members. For that particular one you saw, but they do have now a wheelchair that's actually made for the sport now.
And but these kinds of collaboration oftentimes requires you to maybe find a welder or a collaborator that might be able to take your direction because you have a physical limitation. This is an interesting point. You have to collaborate with colleagues, friends, etc., so that they can use their hands in the way that you're directing them. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, yeah, pretty much what I do with all of my creations, I pretty much will tell someone, I need to put that, lay that beside something else and then tape it together, or weld it together, or whatever needs to be done. And that's how that's how I make things work.
So another great skill that people should be aware of when thinking about the disability community, people with disabilities, is that many people have developed a skill where they have to direct other people. And that's a real valuable skill. A lot of people don't know how to do that.
Oh, yeah.
And then this last slide that we'll show, I think highlights just the beautiful simplicity and creativity of knowing how to use what you have right in front of you to give you access to daily living. So describe what you're doing here.
Well, I actually was entering my gate code into the keypad in order for me to open the gate, so I can be able to access my my storage unit at the public storage.
So in that case, you had to make sure that you had your hat when you were going to public storage. Well, one of the
Yeah.
things that I mentioned earlier in our visit today was the idea of stopping by your apartment, your house, your room. And I wanted the audience to take a look at just how remarkable you've got a setup at your place. Okay, well, what did we just take a look at? Why all that stuff?
It's like my my lab pretty much. It helps me everything in here can usually be put together and make different devices.
And I think a lot of people, when they see that, would say, "Oh my good Lord, that's a lot of stuff in a small room."
Right, and
uh,
and you're right, it is.
uh-huh.
But I just have to make it work.
Well, I think that some people would see that and say, "Oh my God, Zebrida's a hoarder." You know what a hoarder is?
Yes,
Yeah,
but I consider myself in a very organized order.
that's great. Let's talk a little bit about what all this means. You said that you don't even think about this as a cultural or a disability related skill that you have. Um, any thoughts about how disability shapes your identity?
Well, as I like to pretty much say, instead of being, I don't really consider myself being disabled. I like to say that I'm differently able. So I just like to do things differently than what the average person does, or have to do things differently than what the average person does, I should say.
Do you think that your disability impacts the way you think on a daily
I'm pretty sure,
basis?
yes, it does, but it's just like a natural thing.
In this regards, with what we've looked at, do you think disability is part of what makes you so creative?
I'm pretty sure, yes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Do you lie in bed at night and think about what you're going to make the next day?
Sometimes it depends on if I have an issue that I've been trying to figure out, but if not, then I sometimes then if not, then I just go to bed or sleep easily.
Well,
You know.
yeah, and my interest in this, I guess what I'm driving at is that these are skills. These are marketable skills that businesses are constantly looking for. People who are creative, people that know how to be flexible, people who know how to direct others. Those are all skills that are intertwined with what I consider a cultural context of disability. Now, not everyone, not many people can do what you do. You take it to another whole level. But I think that this is an important cultural consideration. These are unique skills that most people never develop in the way that you have. Well, I think we're almost done with our visit. Do you have any thoughts that you would want to share beyond what we've already discussed in terms of disability identity and culture in Pasadena?
Um, just I just say just be who you are. Don't let anyone stop you from living your life the way you want to. And as someone would say, shoot for the moon. If you miss, you'll be among the stars.
Hey, I like that. That's beautiful. Well, then, in closing, what I want to do is, I think, share maybe my favorite video, which again goes to, I think, your spirit your sense of humor, and your creativity. So let's take a look at this last video. This deals with what we call the Z cut. Hello, this is Marty Sweeney with Zebreda Makes It Work. Zebreda Dunham. Today we're going to cover a very interesting, creative approach to assistive technology. Tell me how you basically use your headsets.
Well, I have a Bluetooth headphone, and I use my headphones to listen to music on my phone and to answer calls. So I need to make sure that they are available and accessible at all times, no matter what kind of activity I'm doing.
Okay, so it's a wireless headset. So when you have the headsets on, if they slip off, that's a problem.
Right.
Okay, all right.
So I normally I should never lean over this way or that way without them falling off.
Okay. So in terms of this, I see when I first saw your haircut, I thought you were just doing the regular mohawk, but apparently not. And tell me a little bit about your haircut and why you did what you did.
Well, I did this haircut, as you can see, because I actually
Can you come down a little bit further? Okay, good. All right.
I actually made a spot just for the headphones to lay across.
So when I put the headset, you got your headset on.
So now, if I do it like this, the headphones don't fall down because my hair keeps it in there.
That's brilliant. Totally
I
brilliant.
can do this way too, and they don't fall off.
It's the first piece of assistive technology that I know of that grows a little bit every day. All right, and thank you, Zebreda.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. I love that piece. So in closing, if people would like to get more information or have a chance to see some of the videos that we've touched on today, how could they, where can they find more information about Zebreda?
You can visit my website, which is ZebredaMakesItWork.com.
Okay, great. And I can't thank you enough. It was great, really great, to visit with you today. And I'll be seeing you in Pasadena.
Thank you. I hope to see you all too.
Okay. Have a good day, Zebreda.
Thank you.